Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your divine guidance reading. The following is going to be for those of you who have your Scorpio in your sun, moon, rising, or Venus. And oh man, your energy's been very difficult to try and dive into. So let's go ahead and start shuffling some cards. I feel as though something is going to be revealed to you, Scorpio, and it's sort of like you've been really in the I feel like you've been in the depths right now, and in some ways, there's gonna be a chance for you to kind of come up to the surface, and it's sort of like you don't really want to come up to the surface during this time, but it's sort of like you're gonna have some realization that's gonna give you an incentive to finally push forward and move through something very dense. We got the card of message, and I'm hearing more that how do I phrase this exactly? Um, it's like, okay, I need to say this out loud. I need to send the message. I need to do this. Like there's something that you've been delaying, and now that we have our guides here, there's some kind of inspiration. Like just notice how I can't keep my eyes open when I kind of hover into your energy. It's sort of like if Scorpio was this water full of energy that lands upon my desk, and it's like I just want to stick my head in there just for a second. It's difficult because it's very stormy in your energy, and you have acclimated to see some very weird shit in here, but there's something about the people that you need to talk to, speak up to, that you have to understand they really aren't going to see something from your perspective, but your guides, I feel like they're giving you the words that you can. It's sort of like you'll finally, this isn't literal, you'll be able to help the blind see. You'll be able to speak to someone not in your own language. There's something defying boundaries, heritage, define, like there's just these like boundaries I feel like you've put up in the name of honor or ego, like there, and this I think could also just be subconscious protection. Like it's going to be important not to get too caught up in your own energy because you do need to get some shit done. It's like, well, you know what? Of all the times that Scorpio wanted to come up to the surface and get something done, this is actually a really, really good time. Like your guides are letting you know this is a wonderful opportunity for you to poke your head up and finally speak outwardly whatever it is that you've had buried deep within your psyche. We got the card of power. And what's kind of nice, like I feel as though there's this warm, it's sort of like, you can't put a jetpack underwater or anything like that, but it's sort of as though this is like your guides are giving you this sort of effortless vehicle that is helping you govern some very uncomfortable realizations, especially with realizations about yourself. There's this feeling that some of you in the Scorpio angle have been needing to do some serious self-reflection. First of all, good for you. I know it's not an easy place to go into, but really being able to see things for what it is that they are, there's something so healing, and there's something melting in your psyche. Like what else do we have? Courage. Water and electricity seldom mix, but this is a feeling because I suddenly realized we have some traffic light colors because we have the red, green, yellow. Like you're gonna be becoming electrified, so a past version of you would have felt contained in terms of trying to speak their truth, speak from their own first person perspective, speak what is honestly going on from within, and you might have felt like it was going nowhere, like you were constantly hitting a wall. But whatever this shift is, it's basically creating this electrical current, and it's going to give you space. You might actually feel a little bit nervous about it at first, but it's sort of like you went all He-Man, or you went all, Samson, when he regains his strength back, there's this realization with Scorpio, you've been kind of stuck doing this, but you're going to feel so confident that you're going to be able to spread out, and that might make you feel a little bit nervous at first, but we've got the card of home. The way that you govern home is transmuting. I feel like a lot of you Scorpios, you want to go home, and in some ways, if you never felt like the place that you grew up in was home to you, or you tried recreating a family structure that reflected the idea of what home was supposed to be, I felt as though you kept coming up with lackluster results. But now that it seems as though you're coming up from the surface, and this is the perfect time to do it, you don't need to worry about your power and courage, because this is it's sort of like the area has been cleared, and it's safe for you, and it's safe for you to speak, and it will be safe and receptive for others to hear you. At the base, to start clarifying, we do have the 9 of Cups with safe travel. What do you got going on here? Got a Ace of Wands. Like, this is like the passionate new beginning, and in many ways taking that first step. And what else do we have here? Being the Emperor, taking the first step and taking ownership of your life. Wow, there's some profound epiphanies that Scorpio has been receiving, like, behind closed doors. Whether if you're a cross watcher and you've been kind of curious about a Scorpio within your life, it's sort of like they show nothing on the surface, which is the most hashtag Scorpio thing to do. This Scorpio is going out of their way to transmute things in the background, but they have not felt safe or comfortable to express this outwardly. What else do we have? 5 of Cups. I feel like this is more like regret for not doing this a little bit sooner. I do feel as though Scorpio, I don't know if this is an energy outside of you, because all of a sudden this feels a little bit externalized, but there has been some grief due to a karmic habit. There's been some misdirection and missed opportunities, especially if you've been trying to reset your life over and over again and it keeps going out. There's something about no longer jumping into relationships based on the intensity, the sexual passion, being too dependent on, I'm hearing, like, carnal and physical needs. I'm kind of tempted. I'm just gonna, shh, don't tell the other signs. Like, there is some sexual chemistry in here. So I just want to get a card or two just to help clarify safe travel for where romance and creativity apply. Because the erotic tarot, oh, sorry, the erotic tarot, I actually have upside down and downside up. Oh my God. Like, oh man, like, I feel like you've been dealing with some, like, up and down type energy, especially for those of you who felt as though the sexual chemistry within your life has just waned, and it's sort of like, no, I went to the doctors and they just said I'm depressed. And somehow, like, their suggestions just don't make me feel any better. Like, some of this could be a wee bit of a midlife crisis, but I think for a few of you, you're like, I'm too young for this midlife crisis. This is a bit of a divine reset. And it's better to welcome the divine reset at a younger age than at the traditional time of a midlife crisis. That's my own personal opinion about it. Because, you give yourself way more time to make shifts in your reality rather than just being complacent and sticking to the same people, the same routine. There's just something that you've avoided because their current circumstance is comfortable, but underneath there, we got the 3 of Feathers, and this is like this tickling, raw feeling like you're just not happy. You know that you're going to have to break somebody's heart. You know that you're just going to have to say something out loud, and there's a reason why you've been avoiding it. 9 of Shells, which that is the 9 of Cups. Like, it's not easy to go around saying that you're not happy in a relationship anymore. It's not easy to say that you're not happy with your current job, or that you just don't want to live where it is that you're living. This is going to be different for a few of you guys, but you've been avoiding something just because you've been tired. You don't really understand your motivations behind it. And in some ways, if you've been taking your time on this, while a version of you would accuse you of taking your time and being a lazy little fuck, well, that may not necessarily be untrue, but understand this thing is so important to you. Like, whatever this decision is, it is a huge deal, and you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Like, there is a part of you, once you get past the lazy stigma, there is a part of you that really just wanted to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And this card of safe travel signifies it's time. You have the green light. Are you going to take advantage of it? Nine of Cups came back. We were clarifying power. We got the Tower of Power. Okay, this clarifies what I was channeling as I was shuffling. This is a huge change. Like, this isn't just like, oh, okay, I'm done with this relationship, but this person's a bit of a hottie. Like, you've been exploring a lot of the taboo, and there's something about the taboo is kind of boring. It's like, ooh, now how do we get to the taboo of the taboo? It's like somebody who has been, spent their entire life in multiple relationships and going to play parties, and for the first time they wake up, I'm joking about midlife crisis stuff. It's like, you're 46 years old and you suddenly wake up one day and it's like, okay, I'm done with this. How about we experiment with commitment? Have you guys ever seen that TV series 30 Rock? Like, well, it's gold, but Jenna and Paul, like in the later seasons, I want to say 4 or 5, where they were getting bored with their experimentation. They're like, we've discovered a completely new level of our sexuality. We call it normalizing. And all of their friends are like, oh, that's just couple stuff. And they're like, what? Like, it's kind of this crisis where you really thought that this would be your identity forever. Like, it doesn't have to be through your sexuality. I'm getting a lot of creative energy in here as well. But you've been a very passionate person, and you just know that you're ready for a change. You're ready for something brand new, 10 of Swords, and you know that it requires a full stop. There's something about your decision. It is actually very significant. It is life changing. Let's get one more card, Three of Wands, and you have just been waiting for the perfect opportunity. I'm just going to dive straight into courage. I'm excited for you, Scorpio. Like, there's a reason why you have been ugh, exhausted in your own dark emotions. Like, this has been you for quite a while. And in some ways, you may have been struggling with feeling really mentally checked out. And in some ways, it's just okay. Like, I just need to let things play out for a bit longer while I really figure out if this is what I really, really want. But with this safe travel being brought up to the surface, and I was talking about, your energy will become electrifying, but this isn't well, part of it is to shock away energies that are annoying, lackluster. It's sort of like these are the energies that try to kick up your sacred sexual energies, and you're just like, okay, like it's not even, it's sort of like, I won't even do it for you." Like, that's a difficult transition for a lot of people. It's like I don't have the energy to even do this for you. I'm sorry. Like, it does require honest conversation. But with the Five of Swords, I feel like there's a warning in here. Like, this is the stingray. Like, you are actually going to be creating a magnetic field that will be repulsive to some, but on one hand, a frequency of repulsion will push away the lower vibrational energies, but you become magnetic to things that are in alignment with what you desire. What do we have up here? We've got the High Priestess. Like, in many ways, it takes great courage to know that it's time, to acknowledge that it's time, to know that, hey, nothing is ever going to be the same after I make this decision. So I might as well work with it. What else we have? Page of Swords. It's actually a simple conversation, and also knowing who it is that you're talking to. We have this little like bratty cockatoo. Like, I do not get along with cockatoos whatsoever. They can bite you, but in some ways it's to recognize, what kind of energy have you been afraid of and why have you been afraid of it? First of all, well, I've never been bitten by a bird. I've heard terrible stories. I've been bitten by dogs, and I have dogs now, and I got one that's eyeballing me at the moment. It took me years to overcome the trauma of a dog bite, but there's also an ask just to kind of recognize these energies that you're stepping up to. Like, you've actually grown up a lot. I see this emperor, and you're an emperor talking to a page, and page is adolescent energy, childlike, childish energy. And it's just a recognition. Some of these people, they're just not going to understand where you're coming from. They might just, squawk back at you the things that you say. Well, you said you were going to do this. Well, you said you were going to do that. Yes. And I changed my mind. People who love you and care about you, while they may not always be super thrilled about change, they will allow you to be the person who it is that you wish to become. Long-term relationships, whether this is romantic or platonic, the long-term relationships that really last are the ones where you can learn how to fall in love with somebody once a decade, because we're supposed to change. We're supposed to become different people. Ideally, we should become better people, quote unquote. But that's kind of up to each one of us and what it means to ascend, to understand ourselves and how our perception of reality is reflected outwardly. We got the card of the lovers. Like, I feel as though you've needed to take this time to really understand why you get into relationships in the first place. Because if you're planning on going from one type of relationship into another type of a relationship, like, this is again a big, huge deal. And you need to feel confident that this is going to be the right decision for you. Like, one of the most amazing things somebody told me when I left my husband and I was setting aside my traditional Christian beliefs and embracing the spirituality thing. Like, I bought a book about chakras, and that was my idea of being subversive against the Lord. I've grown a lot over the past 8 years. But this friend said to me, she's like, because I was like, I don't want to be one of those Christians who fall away from the faith, and then you have to go back to church and be like, fell away from the Lord and now I'm back again. Like, and it's a little bit of mockery because I saw that a lot with a few people, but my friend was just like, you can change your mind. You can always go back to what it is you believed. You're allowed to change your mind. You've been in a headspace where you're not allowed to change your mind. High vibrational people understand that they have choice. They can either choose something similar or they can choose something different. There's something about simplifying the way that you make choice, because you've been going along with what everybody else says you should do. And like, it's not as though it hasn't all been bad. I feel as though you've gotten a lot out of it, but it was a joke a little earlier. You're exploring the taboo of the taboo. Some of you avoided committed relationships because you never saw an example of true love, and you might have subconsciously just dismissed it as a fairy tale. But it's one of these things where you go through all of the darkness, you explore all the corners of the depths of your shadow. And now you're coming back up to the surface with the realization that love is actually worth fighting for. If you are worth fighting for, it means that love is worth fighting for and no longer depending on externalized validation to prove that you are lovable. I love it. We got our Ace of Cups with our sweet little otter spirit. Like, this is you finding comfort in home. Like, a house is nothing more than a box that sits on a land and we pay taxes to something. Like, doesn't matter if it's your feudalistic lord to the bank or your landlord. Like, you're always paying money towards somebody. And the idea of having the big, amazing $1 million mansion, like, it's just an illusion if you have no sense of self, with like no sense of home within yourself. Like, some people, they'll go for the rest of their life renting and they resent it, when in fact renting gives you a lot of freedom. I mean, a ton of freedom. And the way that the world worked in the 80s is not the world that works now. Like, you have all kinds of unique ways that you're being asked to look at your current situation, even the stuff that seemed kind of shitty, or maybe you followed the exact advice of your elders, or in this case, the bankers, to the letter, and you're still not happy because we got that Nine of Cups twice, and now we have an Ace of Cups. Oh, right. It doesn't matter if I have $1 million mansion if I don't like it. There's no point being married or having, like, the hottest person to get photos with if I don't even like them. Like, you haven't really liked the people or the situation that you've been. There's been like a bull aspects, but as an entire package, you've seemed to have felt Mm, so we got at the top, the magician. This is a brand new beginning, and you finally making the intention. One of the cool things that you can realize is what are all the decisions that you've subconsciously made without even recognizing it to make your life better, to make it more homely. Things are lining up in ways that, the linear types would say, oh, you're a big, huge tangled tangled mess, blah, blah, pardon me. But with your brain, you understand you got to look at the thing, you have to go underneath the thing, you got to look through the thing, then you have to, like, you're learning how to honor the way that you think and approach the world. And other people have fought against you because they're afraid to think for themselves. They think they're thinking linear when in fact they're just copying and pasting what other people taught them. Four of Pentacles. Like, you are will be shifting where it is you spend your time, energy, and money when it comes to what home is. But once you start recognizing you've already manifested a lot of the stuff that you need to get to the next level, you will recognize, oh wait, actually don't need to spend energy on this anymore. It's not going to yield any kind of results. It's just going to be a drain. And apparently I can use this thing over here to satisfy what's going on. This is some creative thinking, and this isn't done out of a attitude of lack. This is done with an attitude of abundance and just recognizing, hey, I've put everything together and I wasn't even conscious about it. Your high priestess energies has had your back this entire time. And I love it. We do have the card of temperance. Like, you have been learning how to navigate the positive and the negative, the yin, the yang, the masculine and the feminine. And Scorpio, all you have to do in order to get this message out, in order to feel safe about moving forward into this new timeline, is just honor yourself. Just honor what's important to you. Honor that you are exactly where it is that you need to be. So I'll get one more card and we'll wrap up your reading for the rest of this month. I'm feeling very excited for you because all of this feels like a one big huge confirmation for somebody out there. Okay, new moon in Gemini, communication is key. So it's going to be important that you are very thoughtful and communicative during this phase. Try not to be emotional about it. You are learning how to handle your emotions and just recognizing these are mine and I'm not responsible for anybody else's energies. That you have to have some difficult conversations, but with this tower of power, that's the right thing to do. This is the right time. You're in the proper frequency to start making some big change. Just Just communicate what's going on. Just be simplistic in your approach. Allow the things that don't belong to you to fall away and just welcome in the reality you've always secretly hoped for. I'm just saying. Woo. Well, Scorpio, whoever you guys are, damn, I sincerely hope that this helped. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you like my style, please do me a favor. Like the video on the way out. Send me a comment. Let me know how this might have resonated. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries. Bye.